Hey, good weekend to you, and welcome to Leading Edge. I'm Jerry Anderson. Good to have you here. Busy show this weekend. We're going to wrap up our chat with the former director of Toledo's initiative to reduce gun violence. A lot of you had strong feelings about Juwan Armour's appearance last week. We have the latest from Columbus, where Ohio lawmakers were told once again that their efforts to draw new state legislative maps are unconstitutional. But first, an announcement, a move that just shakes the landscape of Toledo high school athletics. Five Catholic schools who over the years have given us some of the most outstanding athletic teams, and some of the great athletes that we can remember and recall are joining the Catholic High School League centered out of Detroit. I want to welcome in a gentleman who knows in fact, he has defined greatness in high school athletics locally, certainly Catholic high school athletics as well. Greg Dempsey, not only the head football coach of Central Catholic's Fighting Irish, a team that's won multiple state titles. Last I checked, he's the school's athletic director, assistant principal. I don't think he does any custodian work, but I wouldn't put it past him. He does a little bit of everything over at Central. Coach, good to see you. I mean, your school and the others are so much a part of the historic fabric of high school sports in Toledo. I'm still having trouble digesting this one. So why the marriage to a league in that state up north?
First, Jerry, good seeing you. Thanks for having me on today. And, I think that we went through a process when we found out how things were going to be proceeding heading into the 23 school year. And we met with a variety of different schools and areas, predominantly even there was Cleveland we had discussions with, Columbus we had discussions with, the Catholic High School League based in Detroit we had discussions with, and then we did an analysis of independence. And all five schools worked together heavily dealing with all the situations. And when it came down to it and making a decision that we all thought was best for our entire student body, our entire athletic departments, we all decided that we thought the Catholics High School League based out of Detroit was the best option.
All right, and just for background, folks, remember that Central and some other great schools have been part of the TRAC, Three Rivers Athletic Conference. The Toledo area publics dropped out to join the Northern Lakes League. You guys did try to join the league as well, but were turned down. Why?
That I don't know. We were just letting know that we were not accepted. And once that happened, we decided, okay, what's going to be the next step we go into, and what do we think is going to be best? And the good thing was it happened earlier and we were able to get a plan in place.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, I'm still kind of reeling from this as a local guy, and you're a Toledo guy, Greg. I mean, generation younger, but we grew up there. On the bright side, I mean, you're now going to compete with some of the storied athletic programs in that state of Michigan. This is going to be a high bar for you guys, as high as you already perform.
Oh yeah, it's overall in all sports. That was one thing I personally did. You start researching the league and the history of the league, which started in 1926, and I know much of the football success up there. But you started getting into the other areas of success that they have athletically, and boy, it's going to be a great challenge, great opportunity for all the kids joining it. In every sport they have a couple of teams that are just great competition, which is going to be great competitive opportunity for the kids, great exposure opportunity for the kids.
Oh, no doubt. Now, I have this question because you guys always compete at a high level come state tournament time. How is that going to work if you have a great football season? You can compete obviously for a league championship, which is important. I know it was important as opposed to being an independent out there. But I mean, are you going to play will you be in the Ohio playoffs or the Michigan playoffs, or how does it work?
Yes, in the sports that match calendars with the Catholic High School League, you play the regular season there in your regular season championship. But when playoff time happens, we will be participating in the OHSAA postseason tournaments in all sports for us.
I believe that this is really yet another of the many, Greg Dempsey, another undesirable product of the pandemic. When public health agencies, we were all trying to find our way. They told schools they had to stop down, close gyms, so forth. Catholic schools found a way to play on. I can't ask you to answer for them, but you hear everything out there. Do you think that was the final straw from what you hear?
I don't know if it's a final straw for what I hear, and that's basically what I would be saying, what I've heard. I definitely think it was a spark or that started the fire, I would think, or the final straw, depending upon which people you speak with. It's just one of, like you said, many things that we've had to deal with coming out of this. Unfortunate, but that's what happens. This is my third decade of coaching high school football in this area, and this is the third
What, did you
league.
start when you were 12?
That seems like it. It seemed like yesterday, but it's the third league we're going to participate in now. So you look around college landscape, you're looking around high school landscape. This is just part of the age we're in with athletics.
Greg Dempsey, you've heard the chatter for years. I grew up in public schools. You and I have compared some notes. I was Bowser, then Bowling Green High School, where I graduated. Competing with Catholic schools isn't fair. They get to recruit. And frankly, I thought open enrollment in the publics would douse that argument, but that chatter still is out there. I've never asked you this before. How do you respond to that anyway?
Well, I before I got here at Central Catholic, I was coaching with Doug Pearson at Start High School.
You were Start, yeah.
So I have experience of lining up and playing against kids that lived in the neighborhood that we taught and coached in. And my big thing is I was a lifer Catholic school student though myself, K through 8. I just always thought that Doug, when you were a young coach, and I was really young when I started, I was defensive coordinator. I was 22 years old, and he always said, I never want to hear that out of your mouth. We got to get better. We have to compete with these teams. We have to beat these teams. And that's the way how he always approached it. So that's the way I always approached it. I can't always say how other people approach it. It isn't fun. It's something you definitely have to overcome sometimes. And it's something you can look at. But at the end of the day, that was always Doug's message. He preached to his staff when we were at Start. And that's always kind of how I just operated. I know some people aren't going to agree with that argument. I get it. I can only give it from the point of view that I experienced.
Well, I can give you a list of public school kids whose parents found an apartment here or there and changed districts. This is for the athletic. It goes, hey, the way things are going, Greg Dempsey, you guys are going to be dealing with a portal.
Everything comes down. Everything works its way down to the lower levels.
All right. The track took shape when sports in Toledo public schools were kind of on thin ice. That seems to have changed. The City League, as a matter of fact, just welcomed in Lima Senior. Maybe it's Jerry being nostalgic, but could the Toledo Catholic schools once again reunite with the City League? I mean, with all respect, the Whitmers, the Clays, the Fremont Rosses, the Finleys of the world, really fine schools, were never part of the City League anyway, and your schools are in the city.
That's something we did have some meetings with everybody, and that was one of the meetings we had. I think how that happened, like you mentioned back 10 years ago, had a lot to do with not just varsity sports, but lower level sports, number of sports offered. I definitely think they are on much stronger ground now than we were when the track was formed. But I still think that, part of it's being in that position where could it check off all the boxes we needed currently? You don't want to predict the future. Joining the Catholic high school league, to me, one of the big parts was stability, even though there's 4 sports we may have to find something else for. You're joining a league that's been in existence since 1926. You'd like to think we're going to get to celebrate the 100-year anniversary with them and hopefully move on to the future and get better at handling any hurdles that might be or challenges that we face in joining this out-of-state conference.
It is a big conference. 27 schools, I think, are now going to 32 with the addition of some great schools from the Toledo area. Greg Dempsey, can't thank you enough for spending time with us here, shedding light on this really historic movement. We'll continue to follow you, and then we'll follow you in the Ohio high school tournament on your way to future state championships. All right?
I sure hope so. Thank you, Evan. It's always great talking with you.
It's a pleasure, Greg. Be well. And when I come back, oh man, there's the redistricting follies continue down in Columbus. We're on it on Leading Edge.